a recent story about a bear that was removed from a park and was deported. They called that deported, 1,000 miles away, and the bear managed to get back to his home. And how these animals managed to find way back to their place of birth or the place that they got used to, and what mechanism they use. This is a place not far from Squamish. It's a mountainous town here in Canada. And I'm going to show you a couple of big mountains here. A few years ago, I used to fly several times over there. Take the little aircraft from the airport over there and fly. At some point I flown between those two peaks coming from the ocean, and it was like 6,000 or something feet above sea level flight, and permanent glaciers is really intense there. And when I see this type of images, it feels like it's part of my being. And I'm going to explain how these animals define their home and how they manage to get back home. You take a cat, you want to get rid of the cat, and you drive the car 100 kilometers and leave the cat somewhere, and the cat comes back. How that's possible? Especially when you keep the cat in a cage or in a place in your car, the cat can't see anything. And you think, yeah, the cat has some sort of a GPS function in his brain. There were some theories that the birds, the migratory birds, also use some magnetic particles in the brain into internal ear, and they use that compass to get back home. That could be true. Could be one of their tools that they use, like we use in our navigation. We use GPS, right? But without GPS, people still get to places, hunting places, get back home, travel. So these tools can help us to survive much easier. It's like walking without legs. Yeah, you can kind of crawl, but it limits your abilities to survive and to explore the world, this reality that you create with your five senses. So that's the idea. If these animals use an internal compass, probably that was the nature, the design to help them to expand their hunting grounds. Help them with their survival needs. But here it's the theory. So I start connecting to the information, and I'll give you my view. But let me get to my car so I can get going, because my plan today was to travel some long distance and get into a space that it feels like sort of a part of my habitat. It's like mountains, and yeah, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. Let me get in the car. I'm not saying the science is wrong, but I always say that the science knows just a little bit. We are still making baby steps as a human race into discovering what's this thing here. It's a virtual reality, it's a real world. Who created this, but who created the creator? Like Lots of people have these questions. And the thing is, the more questions you have, the more versions you may get, and the more false answers you may get. And then you get into these rabbit holes of scientific research and answers and hypotheses and theories and all that stuff, and you dig, you go, you say, yeah, I found some answer, and actually you realize when you get back, or if someone gives you another answer, that was a rabbit hole, and it was a false information, or you based all your research and your theories on a false assumption, because we actually don't know. We don't know almost anything. Even if I tell you these mountains are made of energy, I could be totally wrong. And I say these mountains are a thought of a creator. The way the big mind of this creator realized itself and also decided to generate this type of imagery, this type of scenarios, including my life or your life. So it's a really beautiful and something special here. And if you love it, let's say if you love your place of birth, if you love an environment, then you decided at some point to call it home, because you get the emotions and it covers your survival needs. That makes you want to stay there, to spend your life there. But it could be a place just for emotions, so get you some amazement. But survival wise, that makes you think, oh, you know what, I better search for another home. And same thing with animals. Animals keep searching, keep exploring. Generally they are driven by the needs for food and reproduction. So for the animals is more of a survival instinct. But we don't know. Maybe animals have emotions too. Anyway, so they established a home for themselves, and they start exploring it and getting used to it. And because their senses are more sensitive to changes, because it's the survival needs. The bear, let's say, has a very sensitive sense of smell. Probably his vision is really good. So all this make the bear better at surviving in his environment. Every species have very specific tools related to their survival needs, otherwise the species will disappear. But the creator installed these specific senses that gives them certain advantage over other species in the area. But there is a very good balance. That's why we have a surviving species, because if they have one of their senses is less developed than others, they must have one of the senses that is still that good, keeping them alive, keep the predators away, or help them find food or resources. So because they are so used to their environment, the senses are trained with the memory and the senses. Each of the five senses has its own center of processing of the information, and those are very developed. And the memory is very good related to the senses. In our case, we have lots of memory space being used for life events, family, social life. So that takes lots of memory space. But in the animal world, especially the ones in a constant survival need, lots of the memory space is related to the survival needs, like okay, where I found the last carcass, or like a dead animal, so I can feed. So they created maps in their mind, maps of space, time, and certain senses, certain emotions related to stimuli. So let's say the smell, central smell, very, very powerful, and they know exactly based on their internal map which associate information, how they got there, what smells they encounter, what images they encounter. So the information in the memory and in the events, it's more related to their survival. And like I said, in humans, it's also lots of memory related to survival, but now these days we fill up our memory space with junk, with news, with politics, with unrelated information, like what that guy said on the internet. So the bears don't need, or the fish, or these other animals don't need that, and that's one of the reasons they have less brain size, like a smaller brain size, and less memory capacity for storing this type of events, because it's not related to their needs. So I'm going to record a little bit the scenery here, so you don't need to see my face while I'm talking. I'm heading to Whistler, and the weather is really nice, cooperating with my trip, with my dream of doing something, flying something. The gravel roads, like Forest Service roads, are still covered in deep snow. Let me clean up the windshield for a bit. Yeah, and the tall mountains here are all white. Now, getting back to what I was going to say about the how these animals manage to get back to their home. When they have this memory map of the place, the memory contains information, and information comes from the energy of the things. Everything is energy, everything is information. So a specific space and a specific time into the universe, that doesn't matter if it's the universe on the planet or if it's on a forest here in the Canadian mountains, has specific information. So nothing is identical. So this specific place is very unique. The rocks, the smell, the minerals, the water content, the vapors, everything is unique to this space. And animals who establish their home, they learn these unique characteristics of that place. And they learn it so well, they attach this information to the memory, and they associate different events, different images, different smells, different sounds, including the sound of the river. How the river sound into that area is very unique, because the configuration, geographical configuration, the rocks, the arrangement of certain rapids and rocks, some things might change. Everything is evolving, everything is changing, but there is a general picture. So if, let's say, a big torrent come down with debris, it's altering the terrain a bit, it's bringing down some debris, some big boulders and stuff. Yeah, it alters that, but still the mineral content of the creek or of the river is based on the geology of the mountains. So some creeks have more iron, some creeks have more lime, some creeks have more zinc, and these animals are very, very sensitive to these changes. They are sensitive to everything which is information, and they use this information to store into the brain, which is also like a program and a programmable system, which is part of our body as a system, and we just explore with our soul, which is also an energy system. We explore this world using our bodies, and the bodies are very intelligent, and we use these mechanisms that are created by this God, written into the code of the body, the genetics. So we use this body with its own tools to explore the world, and the body has these abilities, the memory, the senses, the five senses in our cases as humans. So what I'm saying, that the body has that intelligence, and we use it, we as a soul, we use this body to help us explore the world. And the body needs to survive, the body needs to reproduce, the body needs to I don't know, experience a 3D, 4D, whatever reality we get here, which is virtually for us created by a God. So again, I'll conclude this video saying that these animals learn their environment to the finest detail, and when they get outside of their environment, they see the change. It's not their home, and they want to get back home because of the survival needs. It's easier for them, they know the place. It's saving them from learning a new place, which takes resources. It's always challenging to learn a new game, new sport, new job, new skill, even for the humans. And same thing goes for the animals. They would have to waste or spend more resources learning a new environment. So it's better for them to go back where they find their family, their peers, their whatever species they know how to deal with. It's not like a no threat. And it makes sense for them to want to go back home. Same thing for humans. If you look at the immigrants who cannot adapt to a new place, they always crave to go back home, because their resources they know, the type of food they know, the type of scenarios they know, sports, games, entertainment, and people who might offer them a hand in the hard times. They all know that, because they spend years and years to learn that environment and those energy and information systems. And again, it makes sense for everyone to crave to go back home, and it's a built-in mechanism. Some people have managed to go over it, and they find a new establishment, a new home, in a new place. Like migratory population, including birds and other animals, they are designed genetically to explore, to roam. So we have humans who are travelers, explorers, and their curiosity of growing and expanding and learning new things makes them able to adapt to a new environment, new people, new elements into their new place. Yeah, so that's the idea. When, let's say, a salmon, I'm going to conclude with this kind of examples. It's already 20 minutes. I got you listening my talk. Oh, this is a frozen green lake. I've flown above this lake a number of times. It's very beautiful in the summertime because it's green. I'm tempted to stop in here and do some recording, but yeah, I'll keep going. So salmon, it's coming to life as a young little fish, and while swimming into an environment, into the creek, into the river, wherever it was left, it starts learning that environment. And it's designed to learn the environment not only with the senses the fish has. So it learns the smell, the content, the chemical content of the water by analyzing, not the chemically analyzed, but finally in a material form, it still chemical analysis of the content of the water. So for us, even our smell, sense of smell, is chemically analyzing the molecules in the air. And the molecules in the air trigger certain emotions and feelings and sense of the smell of the air, or maybe taste of the water. It's all a chemical analyzer into our senses. So the fish is analyzing the content of the water, and it's storing that information. And while traveling down the stream towards the ocean, the fish is also memorizing, it's sampling all the times, and memorizing the content, the chemical content of the water, the sounds, the feeling of the water. And now it creates a chemical map, a sound map. So even the fish goes through the murky waters, or go through some hard to see environment, still the water and the water stream has lots of information. So if we just limit ourselves thinking that the fish needs to see how he goes, then already limit ourselves from deeper thinking, getting into the depth of the ways these living creatures work and survive. But allow yourself to think that you are energy and you are information, and see how your world of knowledge and information start expanding. It's like, wow, I just realized, I just figured that thing out. It's like a what? Wow. It's a wake up moment. Once you start thinking that you are information, it's like it changes like a night and day. Of course, it might take you some time to kind of grow into this type of thinking and mindset, but it's really making a change in the way you see and experience the world. Tesla was one of those who knew these things, and it's one of the reasons he was able to bring to the world lots of new ideas and information and inventions, because he allowed himself to think that way. Anyway, so back to the fish. The fish has a map, like the bear I was talking about at the beginning of my video. The bear has that map of smell, images, and all that stuff, and he is using the map to find way home. So let's say the bear is exploring and lost the bearing. Let's say the bear does not have a compass into his brain, and it's like, okay, I'm in a new place, they dropped me off here, somehow I got out of some box, they put me in, and I got out of here. Okay, and the bear starts right away using his senses, because he knows he's not into his home. His home is somewhere else, and starts sniffing, start looking, start listening. So these are not my elements, and start traveling. Now, if the bear have this sense of geography, geology, of okay, where I'm going, the bear is still measuring all the times and analyzing and comparing to his own map. And at some point he might go through a stream, and he knows, the bear is not stupid, knows the stream comes from somewhere. Is this thing bringing my known elements here? Okay, that means it's coming from where I came from. Yes, so he goes to something that carries information, and is air, and is water, torrents, and all those fluids that carry information. So he sniffs the air, I think, and he start traveling, start roaming, and he analyzes and compare. Okay, water. Does this water contain something I know? No. How about the air? And start exploring in one direction. Wait for the wind, and waits and spend some time in that environment. Look for food, survive, and a few days later the wind changes, and the wind carries some molecules, and the bear. Okay, seems that I think I know these trees. It's like smells like some trees, some forests that I know. Oh, this river, this stream, this water is like okay, kind of makes sense. And then the bear is smart to analyze, because he's specialist, he's expert into survival, and he combined the information. The way I combine the information, the way you combine the information when you have a project. You combine some how to find this contractor, how to find this the bank, the ATM, how to find the Home Depot store, to find. So you combine information that gets you the project done. Same thing. Bear, it's a survival mechanism. Combine information from here, from the senses he has, with information about the environment, for information about some species he might encounter, some food supplies might encounter, and combining the information gets the job done, gets him into a map, and he starts moving, and he keeps analyzing, and finally he makes it home. So I simplified it, but I talked 27 minutes already to give you a glimpse how the bear got home. And same thing with the fish. The stream is moving information from his place of birth, or not birth, of hatching, or whatever the process, how he got into this realm of using a body, like an energy being using a body as a fish. That's not, I think it makes sense, right? So use the information flow, and information is being carried by different materials into this realm, including you. You go to places, you stink in certain way, or you smell in certain way, or your poop smells in certain way, so you leave a mark. Your car, it's very specific, very unique, even if it's the same model, same brand, but has different age. The engine smells different, smoke is different, you use different fuel. I don't know, something is leaky there, so your car is very unique and is attached to you. So I'm going to talk next about offerings to God, and how they are very unique to you, right? Stay tuned. You don't need to like, but if you subscribe, you will get my crap, my information, my very specific information about whatever I experience in my realm. And my information is unique. I really rarely share someone else's information. Okay? So, talk to you later. Bye-bye. Exploring life. Bye-bye.